You can find mess wherever you go. Wherever you go, you can find mess. So to say that a community college is not viable because of the environment or the kids who go there, it doesn't really make any sense. If I want to study and do my work and be about my business, I could do that at a community college. I could do that at a 4-year university, and I could do it at a for profit. But let me tell you why the community college is a better idea than that for profit trade school. Hey, thank you for joining us for another episode of the Falling for Learning podcast. Please hit the subscribe button. We're here for you. And you want to stick with this channel if you have teens and tweens, or you're a caregiver, right? You might be a parent, you might be a caregiver, and you want to know what to do to keep them on track for learning and to stay on track for success. Hit the subscribe button. Hey, I am really excited about our topic because this is the end basically of graduation season. And for me, it is. I don't know where everybody else is on it. But I just really wanted to talk about how some of our children know exactly where they're going. They got their scholarships, they got their financial aid package. But then we have another group of students who aren't quite sure what they want to do. They are kind of done with school. They're kind of, we don't know. We don't know. But we know exactly the right moves that they could make. That's how I was. When my daughter graduated, I was like, I know exactly what you could do. Just listen to me. And you have to realize, this is their life. They're going to do what they want to do. And they're going to try to find something that they enjoy doing that works for them. And, we wish them the best. We want to give them some guidance. And that is where I come in. One thing that our kids that are in the situation where they're not quite sure what they want to do, they haven't quite made a decision, they get sucked into these for profit colleges. So, DeVry University, Trump University, um, there's a whole list of them, American Career College. Uh, there's just so many. There's so many that kids get sucked into. They have these for-profit colleges pay their investors, they pay, the owners, and a lot of times it is about profit and not about the quality of education that they're providing. The number 3 reason why your child or young adult should attend a community college instead of a for-profit trade school has to do with the support services that are available at community colleges. For example, you get the support staff that they offer academic support and counseling, and it's not based on profit, meaning they're going to give them sound advice that doesn't hinge on whether or not they get a commission or something like that from enticing them into this new program or to change programs or whatever advice that they're seeking. They do make guarantees that are very hard for them to keep, and a lot of times they lose their accreditation. There's tutoring services available on college campuses that for-profit colleges have less access to or provide less services in that way. Then academic advising, again, is done to help them transfer. And it's notable that often for-profit colleges don't really transfer into a 4-year university or even from to another campus, another community college where you may not have that ability. And I know a lot of people had to start over every time they went to a new institution because they went to this for-profit school that didn't fit that. The units that you get aren't transferable. It's a lot of problems. There's also lots of clubs and organizations that you can be a part of in a community college because they are like four-year universities wherein they have a Black student union, they have different clubs that you might join that are going to help you to navigate in the professional world, network later on, and lots of student activities as well. So, this is a special episode to really help us to dig into, do some cost analysis and all of that to see if it really makes sense for your child to attend a community college or a for profit trade school. So, that's a distinction that we're making today, the community college or the for profit trade schools. The number two reason is better earning potential. Now, community colleges have strong ties to the local businesses and they have, relationships with those employers. In fact, a lot of them will have internships or different organizations to work with them from the community while they're in community college. The relationships with local businesses and industries are intact at community colleges in a way that they often aren't in place at a for-profit college. Of course, many for profit colleges have a negative stereotype because they have some unscrupulous practices that have caused children or young adults in general, to be involved in not a high quality education. So it doesn't look good business wise for them to continue to work with them. And so, because of these strong partnerships in the community college, and you don't have a bad reputation like they have for profit colleges. Now, community colleges have a bad reputation in a different way than for profit schools do. So, for community colleges, people often talk about the 13th year of school, they talk about that fifth year of high school, right? And this is what I have to say about that. There are kids who drop out of four-year colleges. There are kids who drop out of community colleges, out of trade schools, all of that. They really have to have a level of maturity if they're going to attend a for-profit trade school or for a four-year school or a community college. They have to understand that this is for them. This is for them, for their earning potential, for their ability to create a living wage for themselves as they get older. So the same problems that you have anywhere, right? If you find some knuckleheads to hang out with at a four-year college, then you might end up dropping out. If you've decided you aren't going to wake up or you're going to go be out late at night and smoking, drinking, whatever, and not making the choice to get up and go to school, then that's what you could deal with at a four-year college, a for-profit school, or a community college. Now, community college is a little different because you often are with the people who were in your sixth period, in your fourth period, right? And if they're still messing around and you could still be messing around, then you guys are just kind of ruining your lives together. And you're not ruining your lives. I don't want to be hyperbolic, but just making bad choices for yourself. And there's no one who's going to be like, hurry up and get to class, and you could lie to your parents. But again, you're an adult. Like, who you're doing this for yourself or you're not doing it for yourself. And later on, you're going to have to reap the benefits or negative consequences of that. And then that's the bottom line. So a lot of people do very well at community colleges and transfer. My husband did it. My brother-in-law did it. And they pursued higher education and, very successful. So, kind of readjust your thinking. Unless your family just has the money to spend, community college is a great place. Even if kids are ready to go to a four-year college, but maybe your pockets aren't ready for it to go to the four-year college, then a community college for 2 years is a good idea still. So, I listen, I grew up in Alaska. And I'm laughing because it's like you can find mess wherever you go. Wherever you go, you can find mess. So to say that a community college is not viable because of the environment or the kids who go there, it doesn't really make any sense. If I want to study and do my work and be about my business, I could do that at a community college. I could do that at a 4-year university, and I could do it at a for profit. But let me tell you why the community college is a better idea than that for profit trade school. And then let's get down to the business. The historical data just bears out that children or adults or students who are at community colleges have better earnings and have better job stability than the for profit grads. The long term career growth and advancement opportunities. Again, we talked about how sometimes, a lot of times, there is no transferring your work that you did at that community college than the one that you did at another school if you want to advance, you want to go to a higher education. So, very important for you to understand and note. But historical data bears it out that it is better earning potential. All over the United States, 75% of children don't know how to write well. Add that to the fact that so many people out there are trying to silence the voices of those who have been oppressed and trying to prevent them from telling their story. Who's going to tell your story? If your child doesn't know how to write well, I have 2 books to address this issue: The Rewrite Method and The Rewrite Method Workbook, written to make sure that parents know what to do, that educators know what to do to get their children to write better, and just not write better, but love to write. Make sure that your next generation could tell their story and they won't be silenced. Go to fallingforlearning.com today to purchase your set. Then we think about number one reason: cost effectiveness. Now, there is lower tuition and lower fees at community colleges than there are at for profit colleges. For profit kind of tells you everything that you need to know. They're there to make money. And again, they've gotten a lot of problems because they're charging so much money, and the quality of the education isn't there. Their accreditation is lost. Lots of issues that come into place when children or students attend a for-profit college. With community colleges, you get that state financial aid, you get scholarships, and there's specific resources for community colleges that are built into, the federal funding, the state funding, that aren't not there for private or and for profit um, colleges. So really important to know that. So you have little to no debt load when you are leaving a community college, rather than you're saddled with so much debt in a for profit college when you leave. Okay. And so and it's as low as $46 per unit, or maybe I should say as high as, because there are community colleges that you could attend for free. And, we're going to look at that cost analysis as we go through this episode, just so that you can understand. So I have taken a screenshot of American Career College, which is a for-profit college that operates out here in the California area. And I just wanted to take a look and highlight how medical assisting is $21,000. So that's a lot of money. And we're going to really see the math. That $20 non-refundable application fee. So 21,000 is the minimum, but there are more fees, right? Um so and we don't even want to get into student loans and how much that is going to cost to pay that interest on that debt. So $21,000 for medical assistant. When we look at, I took a screenshot from West LA College's medical assisting program. There are 3 different options, kind of what we talked about earlier. There's more options when you're going to a community college, and the 3 certificate options and an associate degree. So there's an administrative only medical assistant, the clinical only medical assistant, the administrative and clinical medical assistant you can get, and then there's an associate degree in medical assisting. Another thing we haven't talked a lot about is you can get an associate degree often at these community colleges that you're not getting at a for profit college. So I want to point out that the Administrative Medical Assistant Certificate Program is 22 units. Remember, it is $46 per unit to attend West Los Angeles College. And so you could do the math on that. It's a fairly low, it's nothing like the $21,000. So moving on. So here's the Clinical Medical Assistant Certificate Program. It's 31.5 units. And here I actually got the calculator and did the math, okay? $46 per unit, 31.5. That's $1,449 for this program. We just saw that was 21,000. This is right? The other one, of course, you could get an associate of science and medical assisting is 60 units. So it's not like comparing apples to apples. They're not exactly the same programs, but you are supposed to come out with the same type of certification, right? So here's the associates, the 60 units, which is closer to that for-profit college, which was a 50-unit program. So this is 60 units. And it says with the 60 units times the 1400, the 60 units times the $46 per unit, you're looking at $2,800 for the community college. I rounded it up from 2,700 and some change. And for the for-profit college, it's $21,000 to attend. So yeah. And here's why your child, your student, your, adult child may want to attend a for-profit college because they have a advertising machine that community colleges do not have. They are convincing. They have salespeople. They'll seek you out and they'll make it sound enticing to attend these programs. And they'll make you feel like it is so much quicker, right? The community college, it has the similar programs. Of course, you could take longer or you could take shorter. Even with those programs, people don't always finish the for-profit program. So they can say it's 6 weeks or whatever, but the cost is so expensive. It is so problematic later on. So even if you finish, a couple of problems happen and it's a big issue. So it doesn't quite make any sense. It doesn't really make any sense. So, of course, we know about the machine. But the costs are so exorbitant uh, at a for-profit school that it really doesn't make any sense, and you're just saddled with a lot of debt. Like some people feel like, and we'll talk about this on other episodes, how it may be worth it to go into debt for law school if it's $100,000 in debt. I don't know how much it is. I didn't do my homework on that. But let's say it's $100,000, $200,000 for law school. You can start off making $200,000, $150,000 or something like that. Then it's kind of like, oh, kind of that makes sense. But I don't, with the such low amount that you're making, which is not even a living wage, it doesn't make any sense to go $20,000 in debt. And I am saying debt because most people don't have the $18,000 lying around. And maybe they could work and pay it as they go, But a lot of times that just doesn't make any sense. And what sense does it make when you could go to a community college, you could get a better quality, and better quality meaning it's accredited, it's easy to transfer to another university. Like if I decide after I do this, I want to go to a university, I could transfer. Or let's say I move and I'm not going to be at this community college, but I could go to another community college and it transfers. When you're doing that with a for profit, those credits aren't transferring. You have to start again. And a lot of times they're not accredited or they lose accreditation. And the things that they're doing for profit are not benefiting you as a student. Okay, so you've seen, you have seen the cost analysis. You saw the breakdown. You saw the reasons why you should attend a community college if you're not sure what to do with your life, or even if you're sure what you want to do with your life, but get your prerequisites because the money is funny and it's okay. A lot of people have it that way. We know it's the best to go to community college. They are very reputable. They have a lot of support. And something that I didn't even mention earlier, which we can do another podcast episode about, is how there are community colleges that offer 4-year degrees now. Not just an associate degree, but 4-year degrees, because there have been some movement at the state level in California for sure. And you have to check your state if you're in another state. But in California for sure, they have these options. 15 different community colleges around the state of California offer bachelor's degrees in specific areas because lawmakers have heard the constituents really complain about access to college and the exorbitant college tuition. And community colleges, like I said, $46 per unit, much more affordable. They are offering this now to college students so that they can have a low cost option for getting a 4-year degree. And they are really hard to, they're really industries where they need a lot of new workers, right? Because people are aging out or retiring, so they need new workers. So I want to say this right. Avionics is one of the programs. So it's like aviation, engineering, kind of that. And you've seen on my podcast earlier where there was an aircraft technical engineer. And that's one of those like programs, like a trade you get to be able to work on those engines and everything like that. So I will link that show in the notes so that you could take a look at that if that may be something your child could be interested in. But they could also find a community college. Now that guest, I think, talked about a private program that he went to. He was very happy with it. And I don't know the specifics on that program, but I know that there are community colleges that offer the same program for less for sure. So please do your math. Sit down with your young adult now if they're not sure what they want to do, but they have an idea of some type of trades. Find it at the community college. And if your closest community college does not offer it, a lot of times, just like colleges and universities, they don't have this major at this college, but they have it at the other one. They may have it at another community college. In the LA area, we have the LA Trade Tech that really focuses on trades, but also West Los Angeles College, which is part of the same system. They have like community college districts, have other offerings than LA Trade Tech does. Some of the same, some different. So you have to look in, do your research, sit down with them, do some cost analysis, because that student debt is no joke. And especially if you're coming out of college, with 5 figures in student debt and you're only making, $18,000 a year. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. Okay. Thanks again for joining the Falling for Learning podcast. Have a great week. Thanks again for supporting the Falling for Learning podcast. New episodes go live every Saturday at 5 p.m. You can watch us on youtube.com at Falling for Learning or listen on all major podcast platforms such as Apple, Google, Audible, Spotify, and much more. For more resources, visit fallinginlovewithlearning.com. We really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week.